closing those gaps, to bringing people to a state where their value is recognized, where they have the opportunities. And I'm not suggesting that you can alter the nature of the society in one act, but we are part of the society, and this institution we work in called schools, this institution can either perpetuate the inequity that's historically part of this society, or we can begin to turn it around, right? And remember, even when something has changed, for instance, the state of California, as you know, led the way in school desegregation. It preceded Brown versus the board. You know that. And so we're leaders here, right? What is the case? What is the case in educational experience that preceded Brown versus the board and is connected with California? Let's hear it. Mendes
versus Westminster?
Yes. Mendes, say it loud.
Oh, Mendes versus Westminster?
Mendes versus Westminster, that's right. That preceded Brown versus the board. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm saying that in this great state of California that you live in, that you were on the cutting edge of trying to bring about equality. 10 minutes, perfect, thank you, love that. Trying to bring about equality in education, one step, right? Remember, everything that has changed can also be changed back. Remember that. Policy that has moved us forward can be reversed. And sometimes it moves us further back than where we were. So it is to be expected that we have to keep going, that we can't give up, do you know? Don't say it's changed and that's it. It's changed, and because it serves an interest, it can be changed back. Whether it's voting, whatever. Nothing is fixed. You can move forward, the pendulum can swing backward, and even though we might desegregate schools, you can end up with different quality education for different groups of students based on class and race, okay? So, I'm asking you to check the systems that are in your control. I'm not asking you to go and take over the Congress. I'm not asking you to go and do anything drastic like that. I'm just asking you to deal with the systems that you have in your control. How you group students, how you choose examples, how you grade if you can, how you greet if you can, how you outreach if you can to families, what things you can request so you have time to do the work of equity, right? Because you can't do it when you're doing 100 other things, so this has to be part of what it is. And then to change those things and perpetuate inequity as best you can. And rejoice when you get them done. Because that is why number 6 is so important. Number 6. Number 6. What changes have I noticed? Right? Number 6. What changes have I noticed? I want you to not just do it and close your eyes. Keep checking. What difference is it making? It may not make the difference you want, but you're going to keep looking. Because when you have those examples of changes, you are then able to persuade others that this is worth doing. You're not just saying so, you know, out of the blue. You're saying, this is what I did, this is what happened, and here's how I keep it going. Like, for instance, I can now say that it is worth asking teachers, did you do the work for the professional development? And if you haven't done it, just say why. Because you will, if you're staff of this school, you will gain insight. You will understand what's happening. You just won't sit around and pretend that the world is other than it is. You know? So I can speak, and how do I know? Because it happened here. I'm telling you, when I got your commentary on how it had gone, I thought, well, this is eye-opening. But it opened my eyes to what we needed to do, and I said, I'm coming here, and we're going to touch these cards. We're going to take them in our hand. We will use them, look at them, pick out which ones make sense, and we'll go from there, right? So getting data on what is happening is important. And I just want to remind you, the word data simply means that which is given. Data has been, the term has been captured and used to mean only numbers, but that is not correct. We have data having to do with quality of experience and so forth. So I'm asking you to collect data on what has happened with what you do. Are you 5 minutes? Okay, all right. So we now know what's on this, right? We now know what's on these. So now that you have tasted this one, read the others. Okay, you don't have to read them here, but I hope I've whetted your appetite for that. I'm going to, as I say, and we were talking about this, equity does not mean treating everyone in the same way. It consists of using extra and different measures in order to get everyone to the same status, right? And I just want to mention that status here means the position of being treated in a dignified and valuable way, right? It's not just having a test score, and test scores are important, but when people leave here, they need to know that they are valued at the highest, regardless of what their background is, and that has to do with the treatment they receive, okay? And remember, equality is something, you asked me about equality, this young lady here said, is it an equity stick or equality stick? And so, just to remind you, the way I do it, I say, equality is the goal, equity is the process, right? So the things you talked about are the process of equity to get people to that state, and that it does not end. And it has to do with all students. It also has to do not just with meeting all students, but looking at what it is we want for all students. We want the best of content. We want the best of conditions. We want the best possible methods, and we want the best possible purpose. By that I mean, sometimes we have people getting improved scores, but the conditions under which the teaching takes place dehumanizes the student. I'm sure you have heard of schools where students have been pushed and they do well, but the way they have been treated in that process makes them less than they were when they came in. As humans, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm saying equity is not just about the content and getting the scores, it's about the context in which the work is happening and how you are treated, how you're valued, how you are lifted up, how your dignity is taken into account. The word dignity comes from French word having to do with worth. That's what worth, being of worth, being of value. Those are very key things in all of this conversation, which I know that you think of. And I'm going to move to my very last one here, which talks about the need for twin forces of hope and urgency. The hope piece is when we look at the history of what we've done, or what has been done even in this school, in the state of California, around different topics with justice, and the urgency is that it is so much to be done. On any given day, the inequities range from race to class to gender expression. I begin my day by listening to Democracy Now! Okay? Right. And when you're finished, sometimes it's hard to get out of bed, because it lays out all the things that need to be addressed. But it also tells you the history of what people have done. Another thing I read before I leave my house is Zinn Education Project. That's a website which tells you the history, people's history of how people have embraced these questions over time and keep working on them. You know, when you even think about the Menendez case, sometimes we think of it as a case, but it's a families and communities that said, our children can't have this and we have to do some work about it. So both, we need both hope and urgency. And am I right down to the minute? With that, I want to thank you for staying and for letting me, sort of chat with you about all of this. And I'm looking forward to the next round when I get the letters as to what is going on and what, which numbers are you choosing, and most of all, what are you noticing? Thank you very much.